Virgin in the Meadow shows the Virgin with Christ and St. John Baptist in a highly serene and tender moment against a landscape backdrop, which places the scene in a Tuscan setting. In addition to being the cousin of Christ, St. John the Baptist was the patron of Florence, making his presence here in a Florentine setting very appropriate. The figures in the painting are arranged in a pyramidal composition. Raphael had used aerial perspective to show how the landscape is far away from us, the viewer. As we look back, we can just see how idyllic and peaceful the setting really is. The landscape in the background is filled with graceful curves, and this is connected to the figures throughout the Madonna's neckline and shoulders, which also curve softly. Overall, both the physical and setting and the subject matter are pleasant to look at. There's no pain, struggle, or even Leonardo's mysterious tones present here. The only uneasy sign is the Christ child grasping the cross of St. John, which is likely a means of foretelling the future passion of Christ. The kind of peacefulness and harmony of the painting was held in high regard by the Renaissance patrons, and after Raphael completed this work, he would be asked to paint a fresco for an even more powerful patron, the Pope, at the Vatican stands in Rome. The Virgin of the Meadow was created in 1505 to 1506. As mentioned earlier, the painting was created during the High Renaissance time. His work is admired for its clarity of form, ease of composition, and visual achievement of the Neoplatonic ideal of human grandeur. Together with Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci, he forms a traditional trinity of great masters of that period. With today's society, especially the youth, many people would not understand the importance of religious art.
There are three easily recognizable figures in Raphael's painting Virgin in the Meadow, the largest being the Madonna, the Virgin Mary, followed by Jesus Christ, who is depicted in his adolescence, along with John the Baptist, who is also depicted in his adolescence. Raphael spent countless hours creating many sketches repositioning these three figures, trying to create a more serene, gently flowing image. I believe this is very important to the mood in which he was trying to create in the painting. Raphael's main patrons were Pope Julius II along with Pope Leo. He was also heavily funded by the Catholic Church because most of his paintings were deeply rooted in Catholicism and depicted people from the Bible. Raphael had developed a very complex relationship with Catholicism due to his at-home family life, along with being born and raised in Florence, Italy, during the Renaissance period, where they were very consumed with Catholicism. This painting, to me, represents a serene scene in Jesus' childhood before he embarked on the treacherous journey that God had given to him. I believe that Jesus Christ as a child grasping onto the cross in which John the Baptist is holding alludes to the future passion of Jesus Christ and his crucifixion. The mediums used in this painting are wood and oil paint. This is an additive form of art in which Raphael would have added oil paint to the wood slab. This artwork is considered a painting. The medium can be defined as a paste made with ground pigment and a drying oil, such as linseed oil. There is no strong correlation between the oil paint and the significance religiously of this artwork. However, it was very popular during the Renaissance and appears to be one of Raphael's preferred mediums when it comes to painting.
I researched facts about the size of this work, and I found that the actual size of the Virgin in the Meadow is 44 inches by 35 inches. So you could think about that as 4 feet tall and 3 feet wide. In relation to the size of the subjects, the Virgin Mary is the largest figure in between child Jesus and child John the Baptist. The perspective of the picture shows the buildings and landscape in the background is much smaller to indicate that they were set back in the distance. Raphael's use of pyramidal structure found throughout the painting recalls the work of Leonardo da Vinci, who is shown to have influenced Raphael's work, as did Michelangelo. There's nothing really unusual or surprising about the sizings of the subjects because the 1500s were high Renaissance times, which meant religion was very important, as well as geometric shape and symmetry used in artwork. The Virgin in the Meadow is the first of a series of full-length figure compositions that portray apocryphal encounter between Jesus Christ and John the Baptist as children. Next, I want to talk about the location and audience the painting had in its time period. Today, the Virgin Mary is currently held in, excuse my pronunciation, Kunsthistorisches Museum, which is located in Vienna, Austria. This museum is the largest art museum in the country. But before arriving there, the painting was actually first held at the Belvedere Palace, also located in Vienna, Austria. The Belvedere is a historic building complex in Vienna, and it houses the world's largest collection of Gustav Klimt's painting. Raphael created this artwork while he was in Florence, Italy, around the year 1505 AD. The work's first audiences were Renaissance patrons and flowering artists of Florence, and they admired the way Raphael depicted his subjects in this painting. Even though the subjects are significant religious figures, Raphael intended to paint them in more of an earthly way rather than a heavenly way to help convey humanism through his work, because after all, the Renaissance was guided by humanity.